Hey, JB here, and it is another day where we come at you live with our Masterclass series, where we bring in subject matter experts from our high-level ecosystem that are building brand new snapshots. They're building strategies, whether it's to serve their customers or to acquire new customers or teach others in the ecosystem. And on that note, if it's your first time tuning in, let me know in the comments that you're a first timer. And if you're returning, maybe you've been using HighLevel for some time, you consider yourself medium knowledge to expert, welcome to you as well. You're going to be following along with us, and there'll be a lot of nuggets and goodies for you to have as well. But more importantly, for everything we're going to do today, you need a HighLevel account. So if you are brand new, there'll be a link below that you can go ahead and claim your 14-day trial. So I'll get right to it here. I want your help in welcoming our guest today. Our guest today is a HighLevel customer in our ecosystem, has been using HighLevel in many different ways for his personal business, as well as for his customers. And in doing so, has become a go-to person in our HighLevel community on Facebook and elsewhere to share and teach others how to use it as good as he has been able to use it. So help me give a HighLevel warm welcome to Mr. Michael Reimer. Throw it in the comments, the emojis. Let us know that you are tuned in and that we're not speaking to air. Michael, what's going on, man? Great to finally make this a reality.
Thanks for having me, John. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be a great hour. It's going to be really well received, I'm sure. This is a great topic that you guys have been planning on. A little bit about me. I was working for the fire department. I did 30 years and retired at 48. Started a bunch of different businesses, one being a yacht business. We handle electronics and high-tech stuff for yachts. I'm looking to automate my yachting business is how this started, and I found HighLevel. And then once I found HighLevel, I looked for certain things to automate within my business, and voice AI was on the top of my priority list. So that's why I'm here. I'm intrigued by it. I love it. I deal with it every single day in my businesses, and it makes my life easy.
And Michael, when we were chatting, I recently got to know you briefly about, how you're using it and just a little bit of your backstory like you had shared now. But what really intrigued me the most was you're a business owner with years of experience running business from a traditional way to a techie way, whether it's, CRMs and spreadsheets and all those different elements. And you went from that, having HighLevel empower your business. And then you said, look, I can help other business owners that were where I was at years ago, and what I didn't know. And now you're helping them by the dozens all over, but locally you're helping a handful as well.
Yeah, we basically, so when we first started this, I wasn't planning on going out and selling voice AI. I was planning on just doing this for my business. I set up my account just for my business. So I'm sure a lot of viewers here were looking to do the same thing for their company. And then it kind of exploded, and I said, you know what, I could take this technology and put it in every other marine business. And then it went beyond that, and that's where we are today. And basically I was in the same position I think everybody here is in. I wasn't following up with the customers. I would just handle customers that leave, they pay. The next time I would see them is when they came in the door the next time. I never talked to them. And I think that's a common thread from every client that I talk to.
Absolutely. And that sets us here up to get ready to actually launch the training, launch and sell the AI employee like a pro. Michael, you're going to be going over your blueprint, how you use it day to day to sell and offer and to solve problems for business owners. And then more importantly, you actually have paying customers that are paying you monthly retainers from small to large retainers. And then you have monthly recurring revenue of like subscriptions. So you have both ends. So folks, for those of you that are brand new or it's been a while since you've joined us, there's a couple of rules that I just want to share with you that'll help us streamline this perfectly. One, if you have questions, please make them as relevant as you can to what we're speaking about on the topic. And by doing so, commenting below Q and your question, I'll be on the lookout for those so we can get a good Q&A in response. If we don't get to your question, we will respond to it, absolutely. And then second, you do need the HighLevel account to get started. There'll be a snapshot that you'll need to install. So you want to follow those instructions. Michael, if you're cool with it, if you don't mind starting to share your screen, I know that we can get into a handful of the content here that people are going to be asking about in the next minute or two.
Yep, no problem. I've put together a little bit of a slide presentation. It's not lengthy. It covers everything you need to know to launch this product effectively. So we'll go through that. And obviously, like you said, John, if there's any questions, just put them in the chat. We'll get to those for sure.
Absolutely. Let
So
me go ahead and
why
share this
are
here
we
for a
even
moment.
here? Go ahead.
I got it. Okay, I can see my. If you could see the screen, let us know in the comments here. I just shared that screen. I'm going to minimize this a little bit here, Michael, just to be on the bottom here, and we should be good to go. It looks like.
Okay, so why are we even here, guys? So basically, I want to show you how to sell this product effectively. There's a couple of strategic ways to do it. I went down the wrong path myself. I regrouped, and now I know how to sell it, and I'm sharing that blueprint with you today, word for word. We want to also have a fast setup with repeatable onboarding. If we're doing everything custom, you're going to drown in custom solutions. It'll never happen. So we're going to show you how to do that as well. And then how do you enhance that and offer upsells as well, and also make the customer wowed and show them what this product can really do. It's extraordinary. It's not this is not an off-the-shelf product. So let me start out with this. This is a common thing that I see with every single client of mine. I came up with this, but perfect is the enemy of profitable. So if you're not deploying and you're pondering for months and months and years, and you're not putting this on the street, you're not making any money. And this is a common thing. Everyone's trying to get this thing so perfect, and they're nervous to launch that they're just impeding their own growth and their own success. You have to go for it. And guess what? There'll be plenty of time for perfection after it's on the street. I can guarantee you that. It's never done. So let's talk about HighLevel specifically. If you've been in HighLevel, you already know a lot of this. However, if you're new to HighLevel, HighLevel is there's so many features, I couldn't even list them all. If somebody tells me they know everything about HighLevel, I say that no shot. There's no possible chance of that. I would even go as far to say that HighLevel doesn't even know HighLevel, every single feature. So I focus on simple, very simple features. I don't sell CRM. However, CRM comes along with the package. It comes with the ride. I sell 4 features generally to the clients. Reputation management is one, so I handle their reviews. Why do I go for their reviews? Reviews equal money. So if I can get their reviews up, it gets their Google rating up, it gets their views up, which brings in instant revenue. Number 2, I handle a couple of other, I handle their voice, as we mentioned. We're going to go into that very much in depth. We also handle their chat, because that's another huge thing. And then lastly, we do some database reactivation. I'm going to be going into each one of those in depth. Now, this is what I want you guys to focus on in HighLevel. Reputation management, obviously, we want their reviews. We just talked about that. I want you to learn about automations. You have to be an expert in automations, or at least be very familiar with them, because that's going to make or break this solution. You need to know prompting. Prompting is the language. We're going to talk about that in depth here in a few minutes as well. I also want you to know about custom fields and custom values in HighLevel. Why? That's repeatability, and really makes it easy to deploy this system. We'll talk about that as well. And I really want you to know these agents in depth, how to set them up and how to deploy them, how to troubleshoot them. We'll talk about that further as well. So one of the first things I do when I speak to a client is I never, ever talk technology with the client. I talk about results to the client. I tell them, listen, we're going to answer 100% of your phone calls 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. I don't tell them that we're using XYZ model of AI and we're doing this and we're doing HighLevel and we're running automation. They don't want to hear about that. And they don't even, most of them don't even know about it, and they don't really care about it. They want results. So HighLevel is your weapon. It's not your pitch. The HighLevel's in the back end and it will do its job, but you're going to lead in with what the solution is to the customer. We want to talk about how it's going to book calls for them to their calendar. We want to tell them that it's going to follow up with every single lead that's normally walking out their door that never gets followed up with. And we also want to talk about that it's going to take a load off of their normal work week and their normal schedule. And nobody's going to get fired. They're going to repurpose those people and let them do things that are not repeatable by the AI. So they're going to take their business to the next level and expand it and do things they've never done before as a result of this technology. Let the automations do its thing behind the scenes. You don't need to tell them, oh, we're automating this and we're doing that, and this is going to go out at this time frame. You're going to do that all behind the scenes. All they care about is when somebody calls or somebody executes that it works. And that's it. And you're going to be able to prove that very, very easily. Now, let's talk about the actual stack itself. This is what I was alluding to earlier. The stack. It's a very difficult feat to say, I'm going to go out and sell voice AI to every business out there. And let me tell you why. Let me give you a little brief overview of why I think it's so difficult. Number one, it's becoming popular. Voice AI agents and selling them is becoming very popular. Number two, I think it's very difficult because it's like your kids have a cell phone and you say, hey, let me see your cell phone. They don't want to give it to you. It's the same thing with the business owner. That's their lifeline. That's their bread and butter. That's their revenue stream. So they're not going to be very quick to turn over their phone number. However, like I said earlier, if we bundle it with some of these things that you see listed on the screen here, which I'll go over in a second, you're going to gain their trust, and then the voice piece will come into play. The good thing is once you have their voice and you're handling their phone calls and they're happy with that, they're not going anywhere. They're going to stick with you. Think about it. If you sign up with a cell phone company and you don't really like their service, you don't go anywhere because it's such a pain in the neck to go ahead and switch over from one brand of a cell phone provider to another. It's the same thing here. They don't want to be moving their phone all over the place. So as long as you do your job and this thing is performing as it should, they're going to stick with you through it all, and you're going to be able to sell them more and more services. I keep it to basically, like I said, 4 services that I try to go after. If they have a CRM already, I don't even try to talk them into moving that. I just leave them alone, and then eventually we may get there. But they're still going to have a HighLevel account because we're going to run a lot of these automations from HighLevel, if not all. So we're going to do some lead generation for them. Maybe we're going to do some emails. HighLevel can handle that. We're going to do appointment setting. We could do that a lot of different ways. We can send booking links out. We could do it through the voice agent. We could do that through conversations. We could do that a lot of different ways in HighLevel. Database reactivation. I think this is a great one. This is the best way to gain trust in a customer. Everybody here has clients that they have in their system, whether it be a spreadsheet or whether it be another CRM or any other system where they're maintaining their clients that they haven't interacted with in quite some time. We're going to go after them. They're going to be the easiest ones to acquire because they already trust you. You've already done business with them. So we set up an automation. HighLevel has it. It's very good. I shared one with you in the end of the program snapshot that will go out and do a database reactivation, and instantly they're going to get instant revenue. They're going to be happy with that. That's a very easy product to deploy, and you're going to see instant results with that. The next one is reputation management. I briefly spoke about it a few moments ago, but we're going to automate their reviews. So every time somebody buys something, they're going to get a review request. It's also going to post to their social channels. HighLevel has that available where it posts to their social channels automatically, which is great for increasing trust within that brand. But also, they're also going to respond to these. And what's that going to do? That's going to increase their Facebook and Google presence. So they're going to go ahead and every rating and every per star rating that goes up on your Google profile is a tremendous impact on your revenue. So database reactivation equals revenue. Reputation management equals revenue. And then, like I said earlier, we're going to be doing voice and conversational AI as an example, or lead generation. The offer is really up to you. We'll talk about offers here in a few moments.
Michael, if you don't mind just leaving that slide up there for a minute. As I'm listening to you, our audience definitely has a handful of questions that are rolling up. So we'll get those teed up here towards the end. But Michael, as I'm thinking about, you shared your story earlier, blue collar firefighter for 30 years. Then you got into some sort of entrepreneurship, whether it was in the fire service or slightly after, whatever the case may be. And then you got into another line of business, which is now, almost unexpected, like the agency world, the agency business. When you were in the firefighter service, you probably had other, colleagues that were maybe in real estate, or they were, other businesses per se. And there's sometimes that learning curve. Do you mind just kind of touching on the learning curve that people could expect from, if they have a job now and they're new to voice AI, they're new to HighLevel, and they see the opportunity? Why is it realistic for them to do this versus taking a 60-hour real estate course or a 120-hour Coursera course to get a certification that doesn't maybe give a guarantee for a job? You mind sharing that for our firefighters, our policemen, our nurses, our other blue-collar style workers that are out and about looking for more opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a few things that intrigued me about HighLevel. One is they're always changing it, which keeps you engaged. Their feature set is always changing almost every week, or maybe 3 times a day to 5 times a day to 10 times a week. It all depends on the week. So that's intriguing. So you have to be motivated to stay on topic with HighLevel and stay engrossed in it. But the beauty of it is, John, is that you make your own schedule. So you're working on your terms. So if you want to work in the evenings, that's fine. You want to work during the day when you have free time, that's fine too. So you're going to go ahead and put as much or as little into it as you want. I think the big challenge is, as everyone says in this community, is getting your first client is the hurdle. Once you get one under your belt, they're all going to come in. And guess what's going to happen then? Then you're going to start to get into perfection mode, and you're going to grow, and it's going to be ease. It's going to be ease. But you brought up a good point, John. It's like you said, hey, I have friends that are real estate brokers. I have other friends that are firefighters. Every firefighter that I know has a side job. So guess what? Those are your first clients. You're going to go after people that know you. You're going to go after people that you know in the community. That's how I started mine. And that's what got me from 0 to 20 clients pretty quickly. You're not just going to go out there and be, putting ads on Facebook and just going into groups and trying to solicit customers. You're going to go with your known network. And guess what? Once you have that known network, then you have referrals, and then they're happy. And then it's just going to compound from there. That's the success formula that I see that works for most.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing that. And for those of you, just add that to your notes there. Who in your network is maybe in providing a service, whether a fireman, policeman, real estate agent? They have flexibility, and they're looking for more. They have an entrepreneurial mind, and they just don't know this exists. In our intro here, Michael, we talked about the AI employee. This is one component of the AI employee, and you shared the bundling of it. So is it fair to say that when you sell this to your local market, the voice AI is the foot in the door, or is something else the foot in the door?
So I'm going to go over the offer in a few moments, and
Okay.
I'm going to show you exactly the steps that I like to take to set this apart from an app on the App Store, because there's voice AI apps on the App Store. This is far beyond that. The technology in this is far beyond that. This is not an answering machine. This thing is an interactive, knows your business, schedules appointments, executes workflows and automations, and the sky's the limit with that. So we've done mild to wild with this, and this, like I said, the sky's the limit. And the price is dictated by the complexity. But we're going to talk about that as well, because sometimes you have to say no.
Yeah, and the complexity is something we spoke about offline, where the complexity is what holds people back most of the time. It's what about this? What about that? How do I set this up? How much learning do I got to take a course? All these things. We're going to get you all the resources at the end. There'll be a slide dedicated where you'll have everything you need to get yourself started. There's a couple of questions here, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Michael, here, but there are questions around, is there something that we could hear, a sample? And I know you had a couple in the resources. At some point in our presentation, do you share a sample of any kind that the audience would be able to hear?
I could share one now if you like. I could just pull one up on my phone. I should have some demos that I can just pull up real quick, if that would be, if everybody'd like to hear that. And what do they think?
There isn't, yeah. I mean, people are. If I don't want to put you on the spot here, so if you want to do that,
yeah, I'll do it. I mean, that's fine with me. That's fine. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a nice little demo that it does two things. It shows off the AI as far as the voice capability. It shows how the AI can do some math, but it also sells the AI to the client. So I'm going to show you that real quick. Let me see what I can do for you on that one.
Okay. And then this one took a while to turn on expected. I know that you've been doing this for a while, Michael. So it's more than anything, you should always have your demos ready. We spoke about this offline, but I appreciate you just going at it. Do you need another minute or two? Do you need me to?
No, I think I have it. But you brought up a good point though, John. Listen, you should always have demos available, because some of my biggest clients were meetings that I never really planned on. It was a spur of the moment acquaintance, and I just always talk about HighLevel or talk about AI or whatever. It could be in an informal setting. It'll come up in the most obscure places, and it turns into one of your biggest clients. And that happened to me. So always have it with you on your phone or on your website or whatever. You're going to need a professional website, and have those ready to go and show people what the thing can do. That's for sure.
With the demo the demo you're going to show, can you just walk through? Do you have it saved in your phone? Do you have like a notepad with it? Like, what is your flow to have it that ready that quick?
So I have it. This one, I just have it saved as a contact in my phone. It's a phone number. And the good thing about that is, with HighLevel, I get phone calls from all over the US. So I have to be able to share this phone number and let them call it as well and let them test it out. So I have a bunch of demos that I always keep, and I flip them out, as needed. I always keep them fresh, and always have the latest and greatest, because like I said, new features are coming out. We want to show off those features. This one it's been pretty good. I really enjoy listening to it and interacting with it, because like I said, it shows people how much money that they're losing by not following up with clients. So, and then it's a pretty good demo. Do you want to hear it?
So let's tee this up real quick. What would be the use case for this? Would someone share this phone number with somebody? Like, what's the conversation starter? What's the hook to really lead into, hey, listen to this?
So what would normally happen is, somebody would hear about us, or I would meet with somebody, or perhaps run into somebody, and they'd be like, oh, really? I mean, some of these things, they don't really sound human. And I'm like, well, I would disagree with you. I mean, they're night and day compared to 2 years ago. But listen, John, the other thing is, we're not trying to trick anybody. I'm not trying to say this is a human on the phone. So I'm not trying to substitute a human for this voice agent, but it's pretty good. I mean, some of them are, I've listened to some calls, and it's very hard to distinguish if it's an AI or it's a human. However, we're not hiding.
Forgive me for interrupting. Would this be a business owner calling in? Would this be a marketer calling in? Does it matter who calls in?
It doesn't really matter. I've had other agencies call in, because, and when I first started this, I never dreamed I would be working for another agency, which in past terms, I would be like, well, that's a competitor. Why would I be working for a competitor? Well, because not everybody is savvy on these agents. So we're getting calls from other agencies to assist them, and I'm happy to do so. Other times it could be a business owner. They're overwhelmed with calls. Listen, if you're a small mom and pop operation and you're performing a service, the last thing you want to do is stop every 5 minutes to answer a phone call. And the worst thing that you can do is not answer the phone, because 7 minutes goes by, they're calling the next person. And guess what happens? If they call you once and you don't pick up, 85% will call the next person and never call you back. They're not going to be, oh, he didn't answer, let me call him back in a few minutes. That doesn't happen. 85% are going to their plan B, which could be anyone on the internet, somebody right next door to you, more than likely one of your competitors. So you gotta push, you gotta pump the brakes, and somebody needs to answer that call. Even if that agent takes their number and says, we're going to alert the owner and the owner will get back with you, they're not going to call somebody else as long as they get confirmation that you're on it. So that's the key here. Somebody answers that phone 24/7. One
Right.
of the other things, John, that I always get asked is like, this AI stuff's been out for a while, but we're kind of late. And I used to think that, because guess what? I'm in the AI circle, so everyone around me knows AI because that's what I deal with every single day. But if you go to mom and pop or you go to any other business, mostly they don't know about it. They really are way behind the curve. So you're not too late to this party. In 2024, $638 billion was spent on AI technology for businesses. It's going to be 1.8 trillion by the year 2030. So there's plenty of opportunity to be in this AI game. And in my opinion, it's at its infancy stage. So it's not too late.
So, I love it. And it looks like the audience they really are really excited to hear this. Thanks for doing it. Whenever you're ready, let's get this demo rolling.
All right, you ready? Here we go. I'm just going to put my phone right up to this. I'm just going to do it off the cuff.
All right.
Hi, I'm Jessica with CRM Pros. Are you ready to work smarter and not harder? Let me ask a few quick questions to see how we can help. Sound good?
Yep, sounds good.
Awesome, thanks. Can I get your name real quick?
Yeah, it's Michael.
Thanks, Michael. Let's start with what's working for you right now. How are you currently bringing in customers? Are you running ads, getting referrals, or just letting things flow for now?
I used to run a lot of Facebook ads, but then I kind of slacked off on it and I just let it ride. Hopefully people, look me up on the internet and come in.
Gotcha, Michael. So you had some momentum with Facebook ads, but lately it's more about folks finding you online and word of mouth. How's that been working out? About how many leads would you say you're getting each month these days? Just a rough estimate is fine.
I would say probably around 15 leads a month as a result of that.
All right, about 15 leads a month. Thanks for sharing that. Out of those 15, how many usually end up becoming paying customers? No need for an exact number, just a ballpark is perfect.
I would say around 3 or so would be a pretty accurate estimate.
Got it. Double leads. So about 3 paying customers out of 15 leads each month. Thanks for being upfront. Let's talk about your best seller. What's the main product or service your customers keep coming back for?
So we sell electronics for yachts. So that's my number one product. So we sell electronics.
Very cool. Electronics for yachts definitely sounds like a niche with some big opportunities. What's your typical price point for those electronics? No need to be exact, just a general range is fine.
I would say around 18,000 is our average invoice.
Thanks, Michael. So about $18,000 per sale. Got it. Now, when it comes to following up with leads, who's handling that? Is it you, someone on your team, or is it kind of hit or miss right now?
It's kind of hit or miss. That's been the big problem. I used to do it and then I try to, but I'm so busy doing the work, I never get around to it.
Totally understandable. It's a lot to juggle, especially when you're running the show and handling everything else. When you do get a chance to follow up, how soon does it usually happen? Is it within a few hours, a couple days, or just whenever you find the time?
I usually follow up once very quickly, and then after that, it's whenever I get a chance to try to call them again. Sometimes it doesn't happen, I have to be honest.
I appreciate the honesty, Michael. That's actually super common. Life gets busy, and those follow-ups can slip through the cracks. One last thing. How often do you follow up with leads who don't buy right away? Is it just that one quick call, or do you try to reach out a few more times before moving on?
Just
no
once.
Judgment.
Just
curious.
once. Just once, and then I just let it ride after that. Usually I don't have time to do it.
Thanks for being real about it, Michael. Here's what I'm seeing. You're getting about 15 leads a month, and 3 of those turn into sales. That means there are 12 leads each month that don't convert right away. With your average sale at $18,000, that's $216,000 in potential revenue left on the table every month. Does that sound about right?
Wow, I never really thought about it like that, but I think you're right, yeah.
It's eye-opening, right? Right? Even just converting one more of those leads each month would mean an extra $18,000 in revenue. Over a year, That's $216,000 just from a little more follow-up. Imagine what you could do with that extra income, whether it's growing your business, taking some time off, or just having more peace of mind. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
All right. Michael, there's a lot to unpack there, and that's like a whole other masterclass of its own. When it comes to, I have a lot of questions, and folks, I'm gonna let Michael kind of take the lead on the unpacking of this based on what his experiences and what he does with other customers and agencies, and those of you in the Facebook group. But in the meantime, jot down your questions below. Michael, where do we start?
So basically, the whole gist of that is, I mean, you're going to show them what a lead, what it's costing them to let a lead leave their business and go to one of their competitors. And at that point, you know, to deploy this technology, if they get one lead a month, it pays for this technology for the entire year. So you're showing them right off the get-go that this is a no-brainer decision. Because I can guarantee you, I was in the same situation. Leads were walking out my door. You know, I think I mentioned this to you on another occasion, John, that basically I was a typical business. People would come do business with me. We would do a great job. Most of the time they would leave a review. I never really asked for them, a big no-no. And then the next time I would see them is when they walked in the door again. I would never even talk to them, never send an email, never send a follow-up, never send anything to them. Since HighLevel, that's a game changer. You're in touch with every customer, every single moment of every month. They're getting something from us, and they never lose touch. You're always in the back of their mind.
Yeah, and I know there'll be a lot of questions here that we'll get everyone every responses to, but as I just put myself in the shoes of an audience member, I just got done learning about 6 or 7 slides around the opportunity of the software, the voice AI, selling it, business person selling it. I could do it too. I hear the demo. Man, there's so much like behind the scenes, like how complicated is it to get it set up? Like what's required? And, you know, I'm sure we're going to go over some of this stuff here. But what's one piece of advice that you could share with our audience before we get on to the next part of the masterclass on what they should be aware of or do now if they either think that this is too good to be true or this is too complicated for me? I don't even know if I'm not techie.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, first thing is you're going to sign up for HighLevel, and HighLevel has all the tools in one package to just wow your customer from top to bottom. That's going to be obvious from day one. The thing is, when you first get in there, the first week, you're going to be overwhelmed, but there's a lot of resources available to handle that for you, whether it be the Facebook group, onboarding calls that they do complimentary, reach out to me, reach out to others in the community. There's other groups and communities out there that'll also support you. So you're not alone. That's normal. When I opened it up for the first time, I didn't know where to go or what to do. There's a lot of videos out there, a lot of resources that will guide you through. They make it pretty easy to deploy this. You'll become an voice AI expert in no time. I can almost assure you that. But you're not going to be an expert in every feature in HighLevel, because guess what? I've been doing it for 2.5 years. I'm not an expert in any of it by any means. I learn every single day. And that, like I said earlier, you know, that's what motivates me. If this thing was so easy to master, everyone would do it, and I would be bored and I wouldn't be here right now. I like the challenge. If you're into a challenge, this is it. I would suggest jumping in with both feet, and it's going to just take some time. This isn't something that you're going to just, you know, turn on in a week either. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of work. I'm going to be totally honest with you. You put in the time, you're going to reap the reward. I can almost tell you that for sure. And if you do what we're telling you or suggesting to do here, your chances of success are through the roof. I can guarantee you that. If you go at it and try to sell people a HighLevel account and say, I'm going to implement all 400 features, you're going to drown. It's not going to happen. If you keep it basic and then if they want more features later, that's fine. Just add them in later, and you're going to do those a little at a time. Don't try to get your first client and say, hey, listen, we're going to automate your whole business. They're not going to be happy, and you're not going to be happy. Keep it basic and get the first client and get the first 10 clients and get the first 20 clients. And then you're gonna find out that there's going to be other resources available to you for help, virtual assistants that will help you in the back end. And you're going to spend a lot of your time just managing and looking at new technology and looking at new features. That's what I do, and it works very well. I will tell you that. They give you all the tools to do it. There's so many resources out there. There's more resources out there than you could comprehend in a day. I can guarantee you that.
Every day I get alerts. I'm like, holy smokes, this is actually a good one. It was to a point, Michael, where I just do transcripts. I just download the transcript to try to cipher through it, because there's so many hours of watching videos. The amount of people that just want to give information, it's actually pretty neat. There are a handful of questions below. You don't need to answer them in depth right now, but I know we'll get those answers about the building behind the scenes of this, right? Some people are referring it to as prompting, the copy, the instructions, the rules. How do you make that happen? If you don't mind, I know you have a slide on this, which works perfect timing. If you don't mind sharing your screen again and jumping over to that, I got here. I think we should be good to go there once you're done.
You should be seeing it.
Yep, let me add it here, and we can get to that part. Perfect. So, Michael, those that are tuned in right now, they're going to get signed up. They're going to get a series of emails from HighLevel. They're going to get on the onboarding call. They're going to have access to the Zoom support. They're going to have all the resources, the playbooks, and the supporting information from a high-level portion of this, right? You're giving, at the end of this masterclass, some of your resources, things that you've shared with others in the community, all in one area where they could scan the QR code. They have all of this. They log into the voice AI component. Could you share a little bit of what this all means, and then take it from there?
Okay, so I'm going to make it extremely easy for them. So I've included in the resource pack, I've included 50 voice agent prompts that are pre-done and pre-tested. So they're for various niches, from roofing to med spa to solar to pest control, you name it. I've included those for you. And by you reading those and comprehending how those are laid out, you would be able to take that and put it towards any business that's out there. And that's a baseline. And we're going to talk about prompting, as John indicated a few minutes ago. We're going to talk a little bit about prompting and why I feel it's so important. So prompting is basically like the directions or the instruction manual for the AI. So it's the new copywriting. It's telling the AI exactly how to behave. So it's almost like the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. If you have a garbage prompt, your end result is not going to be great. If you have a great prompt, as you can see, you're going to have 10 times the result. So the better the prompt, the better the outcome. Now, why do I say prompting is so important? Because prompting is used, as the main language for the AI. That's how the AI is going to operate. You're going to provide a guide rails, your guidelines. You're going to provide guardrails. So those are the things that you're going to do, and you're going to learn when you start prompting. Now, like I said, it's the new copywriting. Here's a few places where we use prompts. We use it for the voice AI. That's going to tell the voice AI how to respond, what to say, what not to say. The conversational AI, meaning the chatbots. These chatbots are not your basic chatbot anymore. These things are very powerful. They have a knowledge base. They know everything about the client's business. They know their hours. They know, sometimes pricing. It just depends on the customer. It knows how these chatbots book to a calendar. The voice agents book to a calendar. So you have to prompt for that. The other thing is these workflows now have in HighLevel, you have AI components in the workflows, it's huge. The power is unbelievable. So just think about this. You handle a voice call with a client. Well, if it's a regular voicemail that just comes into your phone, you listen to it and then you delete it. this information to your business is super, super valuable. I mean, this voice call comes in, you could bring that into a workflow. You can have AI analyze it. It'll tell you right off the get-go if this is a hot lead, a warm lead, or a cold lead. It can determine the sentiment on the call. It can tell you if they mentioned a competitor. It can tell you if they were concerned about pricing or any other objections they may have had. This is all done through prompts in the workflow. This is huge. And then lastly, the copy itself. You could use AI, and if you prompt properly, you're going to get amazing copy. And then what I really enjoy when I prompt is, and I use a bunch of different tools, is that the AI thinks out of the box. So, I may think I'm the smartest guy around, and I think I know what the client's like. Well, guess what? The AI is way smarter than we'll ever be. And you know what? Maybe it's not going to do the best job of explaining something, but it may bring up an idea or a different avenue that you've never thought of. And I find this happening almost every day. So those are some things when we're talking about prompting. The thing is, one other important aspect about prompting is these tools change, but the prompting is the common denominator. So I would suggest if you're going to get engrossed on anything in HighLevel, I would say study prompting, because it's going to give you your best bang for your buck. Tools are going to change. Prompting's not going to change. Don't get obsessed. And this is another thing that happens with folks that get into this arena is they scroll down their Facebook feed and they see, oh my good, look at this. There's a new product out. I'm going to go for that. And then that one's old in a week, and another one comes out and they're looking at that. Oh my God, did you see this latest and greatest thing? Don't do that. Stay the course, stay the mission, and get that guy launched and get your first client under your belt, and do that a few times. And then there'll be plenty of time for exploring. But prompting is going to be the same no matter what platform you're using. All right, let's talk now a little bit about the offer, because this is going to make the difference of you selling this product. I never go in and say, listen, I'm going to go ahead and sell you a voice AI agent, and I use this technology to make that happen. I tell them, what's happening now and what's going to happen when I'm done. So you're going to show them the before and after. Right now, they have no leads, no follow-up, just like my business was, no communication with the clients. And then when you're done, you're going to say, listen, I'm letting the AI handle it. The AI is going to book calls for you. You're going to focus on your business and how to grow it. You're going to refocus your employees on growing your business and actually getting work done that you can bill for. Let the AI do all the heavy lifting and the repetitive tasks, and you're going to see profits. They say for every dollar spent, this is going to pay off by 6 times. So for every dollar you spend, 6 times the revenue is going to come in for AI technology. So here is an example of how I like to frame the offer. I never go in and say, oh, we're going to do reputation management. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I come up, and this is just an example, come up with a branded framework. So we're going to say, hey, listen, we're going to put you in one of my packages. My package that I really think is going to suit you well, Mr. Customer, is going to be the Answer and Dominate package. You can make up whatever you like. And that encompasses 3 specific subtasks under that, or 3 products, or 3 different features of that product. One is going to be the Connect AI, where we're going to go ahead and install a voice agent. The next one is we're going to automate that voice agent, and that's called SyncFlow. That's our word for it. And we're going to check and optimize that as we go. So we have a 3-tier system. I sell a system. I don't sell components. So that's how that works. Why do I do it that way? I'd rather sell 4 things as one bundle than sell 4 individual items, because I don't want them doing a la carte. I want to say, listen, I want to sell all 4 of these items. It's repeatable. I can do the same thing over and over. I can have VA staff that knows it, and I set up SOPs for them, and they can deploy it over and over repeatedly with the same offer, doing the same thing. However, there is going to be one thing that will change. Obviously, the prompts are going to change, because that's different to every business. But also, you're going to love this. The pricing is going to change, because a pricing for a guy that is doing landscaping and just doing yards and cutting the lawn every week is going to be drastically different than a roofing company, because the profit on a roofing job is dramatically different than acquiring a new lawn customer or a pool cleaning customer. And if you're in the personal injury space, that is the number one, that's the highest paying customer, because those leads are very expensive. So if you're keeping them in business and keeping their leads coming in, that's worth a lot of money. So you would jockey that offer, you would adjust the pricing on that offer based on those factors. Now, let's dive into this. First thing is, you have to make this a no-brainer offer, meaning they can't say no. So one of the things that seems to be a big hurdle is, how long does it take? They want instant gratification. So you see the first little blip in that paragraph. In 7 days, we're going to install 24/7 voice AI agent that books missed calls, appointments, or you don't pay. So it's a low risk offer. If it doesn't work, they don't pay. Guess what? We know it's going to work. You're going to answer the phone 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Voice AI doesn't call in sick. AI employees don't call in sick. It's going to work. Number two, you're repeating this. So in 7 days, it's going to happen. You could deploy one of these in 1 day if you need it. You can deploy one of these in 4 hours if need be, once you establish that framework. So we know we're going to meet those goals. But when you say that to the customer, they're like, okay, well, I don't even bill them until I have them sign a contract, and I don't even bill them for this setup until it's ready to go. And that's within 7-day time frame. So let's go over the summary of this real quick. Number one, I want you guys to learn one feature at a time. The basic 4 that I mentioned, and then there's some high-level features that I showed you in the earlier slide. That's huge. You definitely don't want to be overwhelmed and try to learn everything there is to know about HighLevel. That's going to happen by accident. And when I say that is, you're going to come across clients that want something special. And you have to do some research and see if this is doable, if it's worth your time. There may be times where you say, no, you're not going to do it. Why? Because it's going to take 80 hours to deploy for one client. In the meantime, you've passed on 10 other clients that you could have been getting done and be collecting revenue every single month. So don't be willing to say yes on every custom solution. The way I do it is, when I evaluate a custom solution, if a client comes to me and says, hey, I want my voice AI agent to do XYZ, and it's something that I feel I can utilize and put in my toolbox, I may invest the time to do that. But if it's a one-off thing where this is so specific to their business, you have the decision to make. You're either going to charge for that appropriately, or you're going to say no. And don't be afraid to say no, because at the end of the day, if you say yes and it takes 6 months to deploy this, you're working for peanuts. It's not worth it. So keep it basic. The other thing is, you want to keep a lot of this technology basic on the client's end too. They think in their head that they need some extravagant system. In reality, they may not. So it's your job to kind of harness them in and say, listen, we could do this make this a lot simpler and make this a lot less expensive for you as the client. And you'll be just as happy, and this thing is going to perform. So you also want to sell outcomes, and you don't want to sell tools. When I go in, I'm not telling them, I'm selling you HighLevel. That never comes out of my mouth. I'm selling them, I'm going to answer your phones 24/7, 365. I'm booking appointments to your calendar consistently, and you don't have to do anything. I'm going to give you a summary at the end. Urgent calls are going to text you, because we can have the call analyzed. And if it's an urgent call, you're a plumbing company and you have somebody with a leak, we can prompt the AI to analyze that and send you as the business owner an SMS or an email or both, and say, hey, listen, you have a customer that needs you immediately. We have an immediate emergency, or they have an electrical emergency in their home. That's one way of looking at it. Make progress before perfection. That is huge. Don't try to be perfect out of the box. You'll never get there. Listen, I'm not perfect now, and I've been doing this 2.5 years. You're not going to be perfect out of the box. I'm tweaking these every single day, ongoing. I don't go retroactively, and if they're working and everyone's happy, I'm moving on. But you know what? I learn every day, and new technology comes out and new features come out with HighLevel. You're going to tweak along the way. Don't worry about tweaking to get your first client or your first 10 or even your first 20. Once you have a revenue stream coming in that you can offload some of that work to some assistants, then you could say, listen, I'm going to be in tweak mode a little bit, and I'm going to perfect this a little more than I normally have. And that's when you make those calls. Get it on the street first. Bundle the services. That's important. Don't go out there and say you're going to sell them voice. You're going to be disappointed. I'm going to tell you that now, because guess what? That's how I started. And it doesn't work that way. There's a lot of people. You scroll your Facebook feed right now. Everyone is selling voice AI. Set yourself different, come up with a different perspective. It's going to be a lot easier to sell them the 4 services or 5 services that I showed you earlier. And it's going to be a lot easier to sell that as a package. And guess what? It's going to be a lot more profitable. You're not competing against somebody that's selling voice AI for $49 a month. I don't sell that. You're going to sell a package that's going to be in, hundreds to the $1,000 a month, depending on the client. And the setup is going to be repeatable. It's not that difficult once you have a system. And if you want to know more about systems, we can talk about that. I'll leave that up to John, depending on the time. And then prompt like a pro. Spend your time learning how to prompt, because that's going to make your product shine. That I couldn't even say that enough. That is a huge, I've talked about it throughout this hour, but that is a huge deal. You have to prompt like a pro, because if not, the AI is going to sound not so hot and people are going to complain about it. Spend your time and energy not looking for other products in different systems and all that. Spend it to learn the prompt and you will be successful. And then also, one thing that I didn't put it in here, and I think it's important, is develop a network around you. There's a lot of resources, both free and paid, that will assist you and take hours and years off of your life. So, some of them, if you're in that Facebook group, I use it, repeatedly. If I'm up against something, I'll go in the search feature and I can almost guarantee you somebody else has tackled this way before you and I. So go in there and research it. Get a network. If it's not there and I can help you, you can reach out to me anytime and I will try to help you. Or I'll be like, listen, that's maybe not something you want to go for. You may still do it. That's fine. That's your decision. But what I'm telling you is have a network that you can count on. People out there will help you in that Facebook group, HighLevel support, school groups, just different groups. They're out there. So that I would just leave you with that. Do we have any other questions, John, in the chat before we start wrapping up?
The questions are definitely coming up. A lot to unpack here, but we're gonna have to work after you and I, Michael, on getting these answers. I know. Look, we have you on here because you're our subject matter expert guest. So I don't want to, I want to make sure we're getting the right answers and in depth enough so people could take action on it. So maybe we can jump in and get some responses back here after this stream ends. But there was 1 or 2 questions I think that we spoke about offline that came up here, which is when you meet people, is there like a one-liner you use, or is there something you're always using to kind of break the ice? Or
so a couple of things. One is I always talk about it because I'm passionate about it. So that's number one. I think people will recognize your passion. However, passion and overdoing it are 2 different things. So you have to just, you say, oh, it always comes up. Maybe you're, at a hotel and you're in the pool and you're talking to somebody and you're like having a couple of beers around the pool or whatever. And like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, oh, I basically have an AI business. I automate small businesses. I leave it at that. And then if they're like, really? Oh, I said, what do you do? They're like, oh, I have a big electrical company. I'm like, oh, really? And then I say to them, oh, that's cool. How many techs do you have? And I let them do the talking and tell me more about their business than me telling them what I do. And then I listen to them and I'm like, listen, either at that point, we're having fun. I don't want to interrupt that. I always have business cards with me or whatever. I give it to them or give them my phone number. Like, hey, listen, I may be able to help you. Here's my card. If you could leave it at that. Or if they're super interested, I'll be like, listen, I don't know what you're doing, like how you're answering your phones or how you're handling your follow-ups or how you're doing XYZ or, what their pain point is. But I try to establish that based on just their demeanor and what they're telling me. And then right off the get-go, I'd be like, yeah, listen, I deal with people like that all the time. I've made a huge difference in their business. And I just leave it at that. I don't try to oversell them at that point. If they want to hear a demo, I'll be like, yeah, I have a demo. I'll text you the phone number. You can listen to it, when you have a free moment. I'll normally do that and leave it alone. Or if they want to exchange information, that happens a lot. One of the biggest clients I've ever got is just by wearing this HighLevel hat. I stumbled into somebody and they're like, oh, I just signed up for HighLevel last week. And I'm like, really? And it turned out to be my #1 client as of right now. They're the #2 personal injury firm in the US. So that is a huge deal. So my point is, you never know who you come across. And one of the things I noticed with my other business, we did a lot of trade shows. And, I'm sure we have people here that have pretty established businesses. They do trade shows. One of the things I noticed in the marine world when I'm doing trade shows is I never judge a book by their cover. I never be like, oh, that guy, he's a bum. He doesn't have any money to buy a yacht, or he doesn't. Those are the most unsuspecting people. And those are the ones that in most cases will embrace you and do business with you. I never judge anybody. I would definitely keep your mind open and look for, speak with people and just give them an honest overview and just don't try to sell it. The other thing is, John, I didn't mention it. We did that demo earlier. I have demos available. I keep those on a website. They can listen to, different demos and, niches. I have maybe a dozen or 2 dozen demos on my website. They can go and listen to those calls. I have a template, which I did include in the resource pack so they can make their own demos here. I'd like to talk a little bit about that resource pack if we have a quick second. I think they're going to enjoy that. That's a shortcut.
Yeah, right. And what'll be nice, right at the end when we share that slide, I do know I have 2 more questions here, and you touched on it. Do you white label it? Do you mention HighLevel? How much do you go in depth? And in your example, you said it kind of broke the ice.
Yeah.
So how do you match like CRM pros and HighLevel? How do you bring them together?
So that's a really, really good question. I bet you that's going to be in the chat a lot. So #1, there's 2 things that always come up as far as questions. #1, do we tell the client, in other words, do we tell the caller that this is AI, or do we indicate that that's AI involved here? And I never openly do that. I will, if somebody asks on the calls and they say, hey, is this an AI agent? I don't lie. I don't try to pass it off that it's human. We say, yeah, I'm an AI agent for XYZ company. That's it. Now, the other part of your question was, do we white label this to a point where I don't say this is HighLevel? Well, when I first started, I did that. So I would be like, no, it was a big hush hush thing. I didn't want people to know, the technology behind the scenes. I've come full circle on that. I tell people now, I wear shirts, I wear hats, it doesn't matter. I tell people that this is I use HighLevel as my platform. I build on it. It's all my, IP on HighLevel. But HighLevel is the vehicle, but I'm the driver. And basically I do it like that. I don't hide the fact that, this is high, this isn't HighLevel and this is my own CRM. I don't do any of that. I just tell them straight. Yeah, I use HighLevel. HighLevel is the platform I use. It's an effective tool set. I find it very effective, but I'm the guy driving the bus. That's kind of how I do it. It works for me.
Yeah. And then you had mentioned, the pool example. You're in the pool, you're out and about, you're naturally speaking about this. So you're practicing. Well, you obviously do it enough where you know it in a second nature. But when it comes to, practicing and you're kind of going, natural with it, you mentioned that you'll share the demo. Let's say in a scenario here, I know you have a roofing demo that we were going to go over here. Would you be ready to showcase that roofing demo?
Yeah. Let me show you one other thing before we do that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So let me share my screen with you. So I build these demos that look like this, and this is what I gave. I gave you guys this template, which doesn't have, this has my logo on it. You could put this on your website. You could put this in an email. There's a lot of ways that you can get this out. You could text message this to somebody. There's a lot of ways that you can get this out. People love a visual. If you're going to run ads, you can use this as an ad. There's just a lot of ways to do it. What really, people love this visual for some reason, and I'm at the point where I give it away now. So I put this in the resource pack because it's effective. You could put your own logo. If it's a guy calling, like if I'm the caller simulating talking to the agent, I gave you the avatars, the actual avatars are in the resource pack. You could change the names, whatever you'd like. But the thing is, I'll play this really quick for a brief 5 seconds, and then you can see what I do is I animate this.
Awesome. Can I grab your name to get started?
Yeah, my name is Brian Sims.
So you can see that we animate that. People are drawn to this. They really like this visual and they like the animation. This is an easy way to sell it. So I can bring this up on my phone. I can bring it up on a laptop. I can put it on a website. I can put it in an email. I can, the sky's the limit. Really, you could do whatever you like. There's been some really, I've done some really great demos. If anybody here does trade shows, I've done one that really sticks out. I'll share this technique with you, and I'll share 2 tips when in trade shows. One is I was on stage doing a presentation. It was about 50 people in the room. I had the AV tech guy call me with the voice agent, and basically I pick up, and it's the voice agent, and I'm talking to it live on stage. I'm like, who's calling me? And basically I answered the call. That's one. The other thing that I do quite frequently is, don't forget you have local business groups, and you're and a lot of people here attend trade shows as an attendee. Don't do this at a high level event, but you could do this at any other event. So, you have 300 people in that room. The presenter's up there talking about, business development or whatever. That's a captive audience. What I've done effectively, and you're gonna laugh at this, but basically towards the end, they say, does anyone have any questions? It always happens at every show. I go to that trade show. I sit in there. I raise my hand. I stand up. They're like, yes, sir, go ahead. I say, hey, I'm Mike from CRM Pros. I automate small businesses. I have with AI. I have a question on your presentation. And guess what happens? I ask my question, the presenter answers it, and then I go in the back of the room when the presentation's over, and people swarm you because you just made an informal presentation at that trade show. And then my next step is I work that floor of that trade show, because there's people in there. If you're at a business trade show, every one of them, you have 1,000 vendors in there. You can just visit with them and say, hey, listen, here you go. This is what I do. So you can maximize a 4-hour day out of your day and do pretty well. And you can get clients very easily doing that. So yeah, do you guys want to hear a demo then? You want to hear the roofing demo? I can do it on the fly. I just got to look it up. Wasn't really expecting to do it. But.
Absolutely. I mean, and let's get this roofing demo going.
All right, hang on one second. Let me look it up.
And for those of you that are just tuning in, you got to go back to the beginning. There'll be links below to get your free trial so you could get in. What's really nice about this is that we do have a couple of different ways that you can get started, by yourself with some learning on our live workshops and in our private Facebook group. So you're not alone.
No, for sure. I mean, the resources there are unbelievable, and there's a lot of people that share a lot of their information. It's not like people are withholding. In most cases, they're going to help you. So yeah, all right. Let me dial it up. I just found it on my phone. See how this goes.
Hello, you have reached Safeguard Roofing. How can I assist you?
Oh, hey, how are you doing? This is Mike. I called the other day in reference to my roof at my house. I've got leaks throughout the house. I'm getting leaks coming through my roof, through my ceiling in my dining room. I spoke to my wife about it. I let her know that I spoke with you guys. I definitely have a few questions. Is that okay if I ask you a couple of questions?
Hello, Michael. It's great to hear from you again. I see we have your email as mike@gmail.com. Is that correct?
Yes.
Feel free to ask any questions you have about your roof or the services we offer. I'm here to help.
Okay, so I was thinking about a metal roof, and I really don't know much about them. I know some of them have screws and some of them don't have screws. I really don't know much about it. What's the benefit of each type? One has screws, one doesn't. I don't really know what's going to last longer.
I understand, Michael. Metal roofs are a great option, and I'd be happy to explain the differences and benefits of the 2 types you're referring to. 1, metal roofs with exposed screws. These are often referred to as exposed fastener metal roofs. Benefits: they are typically more affordable and quicker to install. They work well for sheds, barns, or garages. Considerations. Over time, the screws may loosen or the washers may degrade, requiring periodic maintenance to ensure the roof remains watertight. 2. Metal roofs with hidden screws. These are called standing seam metal roofs, where the fasteners are concealed beneath the panels. Benefits. They offer a sleeker, more modern look and are more durable because the screws are protected from weather exposure. This type of roof generally requires less maintenance and has a longer lifespan.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I think I'm going to go with the better roof right off the get-go. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I think what's going to happen, because we're kind of in a rush, we have, some leaking in my living room. I think I want to go ahead and schedule an appointment for somebody to come out and look at it. Is that something you can help with?
Absolutely, Michael. I completely understand the urgency, especially with the leaks you're experiencing. Let me help you schedule an appointment right away. To get started, could you please confirm your time zone so I can ensure we schedule the appointment correctly?
Yeah, I'm in Eastern time zone.
Thank you, Michael. Here are the available appointment slots. Friday, August 1st, 2025, 8:30 a.m., 10:30 a.m., 12 p.m. Saturday, August 2nd, 2025, 9:30 a.m., 11 a.m., 12:30 p.m. Which of these times work best for you?
The weekend actually works better. I'm off, and my wife's home. So the early appointment, I think you said 9:30 on Saturday would work.
Your appointment has been successfully booked for Saturday, August 2nd, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We will send you a confirmation email shortly. Is there anything else I can assist you with today, Michael?
No, that's it. Thank you very much. So that is a quick demo that shows you a little bit about what the agent can do. We booked the call right then. It goes to your Google Calendar. If you're using Google, it goes to your HighLevel calendar. It can go to other calendars as well, other services, but also things that you don't see behind the scenes. We're extracting data as well. So right now, that call record knows what kind of roof that caller wants, what the appointment time and date is, that they have leaks at their house, that it's an urgent matter, that they want the better quality roof, that they're a hot lead, but also things that you don't see as well is we could be triggering automation. So like if, for example, say you offer a service where they have to sign paperwork or have to sign a contract or sign pre-appointment, fill out questionnaires or whatever, we can automatically execute that upon the completion of the call, and they would get that to their text message or email, and then they're ready for the appointment when they show up. Or you can send price sheets, color sheets, anything that goes along with your product, mini catalog. So the sky's the limit as far as what these agents can do. This is not a standard voicemail. I think we talked about that earlier. So that was a quick overview.
Absolutely. And, there's different voices. There's different settings. There's different demands and as well as configurations within HighLevel. Business acumen applying from the industry, applying the customer of that person or that business you'll be setting this up for. All of this comes into play. What you're sharing with us in your examples is what's pretty much out of the box to show somebody on the spot. But when you're dealing with like a customer that's the second, personal injury attorney in the country, there's going to take a little bit more, details and effort and updates, things like that. And Mike, we got some work to do with some of these questions that are popping up. For those of you that are jotting the questions down, just make sure it has Q and your question. We're going to jump in here shortly. Mike, I know we have some resources. We're at the tail end of what we've been going over here. Before we get into some closing remarks, do you mind sharing with folks that are not HighLevel users that get started, that are currently HighLevel users that are with us, what are you giving them as a gift with the snapshot as well as the additional bonuses you've included?
Okay, so basically what I did is I thought about this session. I know we're going to have some people that are probably HighLevel users. I know we're going to have people that are new, and we may have some that are even more experienced. So I have resources in there that I think would fit all of those categories. So I have 50 voice AI prompts available for you. They work right out of the box. You basically change the business information, but it's set up for med spa. It's set up for landscaping. It's set up for carpet cleaning. So you have all of those. There's about 50 of those. In the snapshot, if and there may be people here that don't want to even understand what a snapshot is. This is their first exposure to HighLevel. But a snapshot is like a pre-canned mini account setup that would populate your Go HighLevel account. So these resources would go into your HighLevel account, and you have accessibility to them. So what I've done is I've included 12 voice agents that are completely set up. So they pretty much have everything out of the box. So if you go into your voice agents, you're going to see 12 of those set up. You can change those. You're going to have to assign them phone numbers and such. I've included a guide that I've put together. It's about a 60-page guide that tells you, hey, I want my voice agent to do XYZ, no time zones like we just did, or upsell products, because we could have the voice AI agent upsell. While you have the person on the call, like you're a HVAC company, somebody has a problem, we want to upsell them into a yearly maintenance service. I have a guide on that. So I have all that in there. I have some visuals that will assist you with doing the demos. But even more importantly, I have a really nice sheet. It's about a 6-page sheet on how to craft your offer. It's a little more in depth than the slides that we went through today. So that is a huge portion of what is in that. We have the snapshot, and then we have a Google Drive folder. That would be in the Google Drive folder. Now, you're going to see if, John, I don't know if you have that last slide with the codes or whatever, but basically what I'm doing with folks here, if you guys are signing up for HighLevel, you're not obligated to, but if you are, I offer usually anybody that signs up with me, I basically I walk you through setting up your first AI agent. I also offer, and this is whether you sign up with me or not, if you already have an account, it doesn't matter. If you want to call and schedule a 10-minute call with me, there's a QR code right to my personal calendar. You can schedule a 10-minute call with me at any time, and I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can one-on-one with you. No problem with that, especially if you're here, because that shows to me that you're interested. We have a HighLevel sign up there. Like I mentioned, we have the mega resource pack. That is the Google Drive folder that has all those items in it. And then the snapshot is going to populate. You must have a HighLevel account for that to even, operate. So,
just
you
a
need
moment
that.
here. Yeah, I'm just, I know the screen just went away. I'm just trying to take out the naming convention under, so that way hide our photos. Give me a moment. I just want to hide our photos so we could have a full screen. And remove edit name title. Remove this here so that way they know what they're getting. Bear with me. All right. Should be able to see it all now.
Yeah, so basically we have a HighLevel getting started. That will take you to sign up for an account, or even the AI employee. So the AI employee, if you're a high volume user, well, you don't even these days you don't need to be a high volume user to take advantage of the AI employee. And why do I say that? Voice is only one small portion of HighLevel's AI capability. So like I mentioned earlier, workflows have AI. There's AI agent built into HighLevel. There's conversational AI. There's AI that helps you build your workflows. So there's a ton of different AI features. Really quickly, you can go to an unlimited package, and it's not a lot of money, and you could sign up for that, and you don't have to worry about meter charges, because sometimes if you go meter charges, it'd be more than unlimited for the month. So you'd have to make that decision. Then we have my calendar on the upper right. You can book a call with me, as I mentioned, a 10-minute call anytime I'm available. I'll do my best to answer anything I can, even if it's, you want me to look at something on your account, or you have a question about your offer, or you're stuck. I'm here for you. Especially like I mentioned earlier, if you took the time to come here today, that shows me that you're really interested. The snapshot has all the resources available. Oh, one of the things I didn't tell you was in that snapshot. You got to dig for it. There's one of those orbs that can go on your website that you can talk to the AI. That I've included. Everyone asks for that. And then the resource pack has all the files and information. It's a Google Drive file. You're free to save that to your drive, and it's a nice little resource pack. It's loaded with a lot of nice stuff.
Awesome. What an exciting time. And I believe, Mike, we've gone. I'm going to give everyone another minute here to go ahead and scan these in. I just don't want to put our heads here and then it moves it. Let me see if I can move this here just a moment. There we go.
Yeah. That was a quick hour, and we went an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah, it flies. I'm sorry I went over, but it's worth it. For you guys, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, and Mike, you're in the Facebook group. You're a familiar face in the community. We've had some others in the ecosystem as well share their feedback and experiences. And like you had said earlier, it's not like there's no such thing as competitors, right? We're in a high-level ecosystem. We're operating on top of HighLevel. It's okay to share. It's okay to network. It's okay to reach out. You're always open to that.
You just had a whole group in Miami last week, and basically it was a really good turnout. And are they really all competitors? Not really. There's plenty of customers to go around. I can't hit everyone. And the beauty of this business is, they don't have to be within a certain radius for you to take care of them. Everything is done virtually. So the whole US and really the whole world I have clients in the UK. So, I'm not worried about a competitor, that's just how that goes. You're right, John. Like, there's no competitor. I'm willing to help anybody out. And
the good thing is you can find you on Facebook. What are the channels that you typically use? Is it mostly Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, mostly Facebook. And then, like I said, you can go to my website or book a call with us if you like through this QR code. But if you need me, just send me a message on Facebook. I'm pretty diligent about responding there. Usually it takes, it may take a day. I don't live on there 24/7. So be patient. Don't hit me up, in 15 minutes. I may not respond.
What's the service level agreement, Michael?
Right.
I love it. Well, look, Michael, I appreciate you hanging out with us. For our audience that's tuned in, help me give a round of applause to Michael just for the information, the value. He's an easygoing guy here. So this is what we do at HighLevel. This is what our HighLevel community is about, people helping people. So you want to close this out here with some remarks? I know we just do your slide up here.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say thanks for coming today. Thanks for showing up to this 1 hour session or 1 hour and 15-minute session. This is a start to an amazing journey. I can almost guarantee that if you're in the least bit interested, I suggest, getting your feet wet and see what you think. Soon, if you're into technology, it's gonna, you're gonna be right at home. But it's going to be a challenge. But you know what? This is going to impact your life. It could impact your family's life. It could impact people around you. Because and this has happened to me. I think we mentioned this earlier. You're going to start out with your network, and what's going to happen there is, they're going to make a difference in their business, and they're going to be like, oh my goodness, I'm going to start up my own, and they're going to work under you, and they're going to have clients under them potentially. And I've had a few of those that have done that. So just be prepared for what's ahead. This thing is going to, potentially change your life. It's not as difficult as people think, but it's also not as easy as people think. So, let that sink in for a minute. You're going to have to put the work in. There's going to be work involved. Otherwise, guess what? Everybody would do it. It's going to take some time and take some effort, but at the end of the day, I can almost guarantee you it's going to pay off for you and your family.
Awesome. Well, I'll throw this QR code up here again. Michael, thank you very much. On behalf of HighLevel and myself and all those behind the scenes here, we appreciate what you've shared with us. We appreciate what you have in the making that we can't wait for you to share with our community and to our customers, our new friends, those that are tuning in just by stopping by for a moment or two. Go ahead and get those links scanned. Click the link below, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, John.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Take care now. Bye now.